The Po' Boy Pundits podcast is brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. Pulpery Media presents Po' Boy Pundits with your hosts, Brock and Ben. This is where we discuss the political headlines that grab our attention and all those little jerks that infuriate us.
It's the big...
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to remember the whole name of it. Or, you know, Mike Johnson's literary blowjob to Donald Trump.
I'm not going there with Mike Johnson today because fuck that guy.
It's like the only thing I'll say is not this past Sunday, but the previous Sunday, my brother was listening to Face the Nation off of his phone while we were working and cleaning and shit like that. Margaret Brennan was interviewing Mike Johnson, and my brother just screamed across the house, "Hey, it's your boy!" I'm like, he ain't my boy.
No, first of all, fuck that guy. I think it's that condescending smirk he has on his face all the time.
He's a weasel. What's the bad version of a weasel?
Right, that's what I was trying to think of. I was like, he's
a turd.
He is. He's like wants to be the penguin.
Yeah, but doesn't have the balls to do it.
Doesn't have anything.
He'd have to check in with too many people. Anyway.
He's a terrible person. Not as terrible as Carolyn Levitt. Because she fucking has to spew this she has to defend this bullshit of this budget. She
enjoys defending it.
I'm not going to go into my don't understand how these people work rant. I'm not going to do it. But I mean, she is. What was the press secretary for Hitler? Didn't he have his propaganda?
Oh yeah, that was Goebbels.
Thank you. Yeah. She's trying her best Goebbels impression.
Yeah. I don't want to say anything that would give props to a Nazi who.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, but
you know, that's the playbook.
She's not as intelligent as Goebbels.
Fuck no. But you know, they come out there and they talk about this budget, and then once you start reading through it, like there were a couple of tiny provisions that specifically would write into law that the president, Trump, could just randomly fire people without any oversight.
Yeah.
Just little things like that. Not to mention the massive tax cuts to all this stuff that...
Well, and that, you know, they think they're being sneaky, but
well, the Senate's calling them out.
And, you know, unfortunately, that's the best that the Democrats can do right now is, like, just point out what's in the bill.
Right.
And, like, where those, like, what they're cutting to pay for the reduction in taxes. And then that's right.
Right.
That's where you get that town hall with Joni Ernst, and when they're like, "Hey, what about these Medicare cuts?" And she goes, "Well, we all got to die sometime."
Yeah.
Like,
you don't say
way
that.
to read the room.
Way to read the country.
Right.
At this point. And then you saw her apology?
No.
Self-filmed, right? I apologize, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I meant. As she's walking through a fucking cemetery. I swear to Christ.
Where's she from? Kansas?
Iowa?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
It's like
we've all got to die sometime.
They don't want to get reelected. It's just weird.
Well, that's been since January 20th. Since all of this started, do they just not care? They're just going to burn everything down knowing that in 2 years, more than likely, the entire government, sans the president, the executive branch, will become, the libtards are in charge.
Yeah, well...
Are they just betting on...
I mean, there's some people Mike Johnson will be secure no matter what.
Yeah, I get that.
But at the same time, you start cutting into these programs that everybody benefits from.
Yeah.
It's going to piss off a lot of people.
Well, here's the thing that
I mean, maybe not, MAGA diehards.
Here's
but...
the slick part of it, and I use that term very loosely, is that a lot of it you won't see until, like, the end of next year. Like,
right.
You won't really, like, see it like, it won't affect, it won't make a huge dent in everything until 26. Which is why we're still under Trump's tax plan from before.
Yeah.
So then it'll be all like, well, this is the next president's fault.
Yeah, I mean...
Even though we did it 2 years ago.
Right, I mean, which is why, they're still penning any economic negatives on Biden.
Right.
And, which, in turn, like, that is normally how it works when presidents transition. It's usually 2 years. You're still under the effects of the economic policy.
Correct.
But the thing that changes this is the tariffs. Mm-hmm. Is that so? If Trump wasn't doing anything other than working on tax cuts that are going to go in, like you said, in 2020,
slowly step their way up
then they could legit say, like, okay, well, like, all the prices are still going up because of Biden.
Right.
But when you throw these tariffs out...
No, then you're just...
And then you throw the tariffs out on some countries, pull them back, throw them back out, pull them back.
We're talking tacos here. Tacos.
Right.
Let's just talk tacos. And it's now part of the New York Times?
Yeah.
It's the Times who coined it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's their lexicon. Like, that is now... Kudos to you. I hope it ends up...
Because he always does it on a Tuesday.
Does he?
No, it's usually... He announces usually on a Friday, and then he pulls back, like...
Sunday evening on a tweet, like, from one of his truth posts.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I will be reversing all of this.
Yeah. After everybody loses their shit.
Right. So, which is why
and the market's still open bad on a Monday.
Trump always chickens out.
On the big ones, yeah.
Did you see when he was asked about that?
A
reporter, the first time.
Yeah.
And when he was like, when you set a number at 450 and then you drop it down to 100, and then you drop it down to another number, and then another number. Great, we're talking numbers here, buddy. What are you talking about?
No, don't worry. He's a good businessman.
He's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
A fucking
idiot.
I
think at this point it should be clear. Like,
yeah.
But that's the part that is, like, really scary is, well, two parts make it super duper scary. One is the House, who should be the people
checking this motherfucker,
aren't. And then...
That's the scary part.
And then I'm living in a world now where I agree with Rand Paul. And other... Like, even John Kennedy is making sense.
That's what I was going to say.
And...
I was going to say... Because he came out after the budget, the big, beautiful bill, and he was like, come on, man. Some of this stuff is just like...
Yeah.
Come on, bruh. That's basically what he's... And when you got John Kennedy going, hold us... Yeah. Let's pump the brakes.
Well, you can finally understand him now that Trump's dick is out of his mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking Christ. Our Latoya's not standing in front of him.
Quiet. I am embezzling funds while we speak.
Right. I'm drunk still. Yeah, that's the scary part. And we'll find out a lot because in the next... Again, we're in June now, so the Supreme Court is going to be throwing decisions out left and right for the next 30 to 45 days.
Yeah. But, that's where that... I thought fucking Amy Coney Barrett keeps surprising me.
She does.
Like, when she recused herself from the Catholic charter case.
She did.
And then making it a tie, which upheld the lower courts. Mm-hmm. Really, but it would go in, like... that's something Clarence Thomas would never do. Going like, you know what?
No.
I got too much skin in this game.
Nope. No,
I'm clearly biased, so...
She's clearly a smart individual. I mean, obviously, she's on the fucking Supreme Court no matter how fucking vile she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's looking ahead, too. Clarence Thomas doesn't give a fuck, because I guarantee you we talk about it, whether this summer or next, he's retiring.
Yeah.
It's got to be this summer, because next summer they won't be able to
Yeah.
Unless they cram through another Supreme Court justice.
Well, it would be. Well, what you're talking about is that, I mean, they need to do it before midterms.
Well, that's what I was saying. So it would have to be this summer.
Yeah, I mean, unless everything that they're seeing is like they're not gonna take a hit in the Senate during the midterms, but they keep cutting this, and then I mean, I would think too that the Trump voting Latin American community has they're in the find out stage. Like they're not.
Oh, yeah.
They're not on the list of protected people.
White people.
Yeah.
Not rich white.
Well, but I mean it goes, and again,
that's protected at this
I
point.
don't want to get into a religious conversation, but it's like, but that's what I think, like, you know, conservative Catholics think, like, oh, if we're on board with them when they do their evangelical revolution, we'll be part of it. And going like, you've never been part of that.
No, they don't.
You're gonna find,
about
they're gonna call you a papist and fucking kick you out the door.
Right.
So.
I don't give a fuck about that.
And then, you know, so I mean, but yeah, I mean, there's all these, you know, whether they're like little subgroups or big voting blocks, but like, yeah, I mean, they're finding out like this whole like, let's jump on this train and try and milk it. It's like they control everything,
right?
So you're going to be left, you know.
They don't give a fuck.
You don't get to the trough, so.
They said it. If you vote for me, you will never have to vote.
Yeah. Well, and
that's.
You know, and like now, or like John Oliver pointed out, like too, you can buy a pardon just by showing up at one of their dinners.
For $1 million.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that those things were that. I thought it was just like, okay, if you make a donation, but it's got to be, you know.
Yeah, like 25,000 or something.
Or like 100,000, maybe capping out at $250,000, you know. But like.
Yeah, even like $500,000. Like I consider
donation,
that like
but
a big
this
donor.
sounded like you have to pay $1 million to get through the front door.
Yeah.
That's not a donation dinner.
No, I mean, and
they're charging admittance,
and those people are going there for a purpose to get they're buying
so they can get near the president. Yeah, absolutely.
So
it's like everybody's. You know what? I bet when they show up at these $1 million dinners, there's a suggestion card at everybody's place. It'd be like my name and then the suggestion card.
I like it better if there's a suggestion box.
Well, no. You fill out the card,
and then they put it in a big raffle tumbler.
You put it in the box after you fill it out, and then afterwards
they only pull out 5 cards,
and you get a Trump watch and
those sneakers and a Bible.
Yep, and with all of the yep, that's it. You get a photo op in the Oval Office.
Yeah. With his gun.
Because that's basically what's happening. I pay $1 million to get in here. There's probably 20 people in that room.
Yeah.
Right. There's no.
Well, and you only got to get to a few individuals. Like if you don't even need direct access to Trump. Like
that's what I'm saying.
You get to Stephen Miller, or you get to.
And if there's only 20 people
who's
in
the
there,
6-shooter guy?
I don't fucking know.
Dave Navarro.
Mark Rubio would be another one, or Mike Johnson.
Which, so you understand now, Mark Rubio is not only the Secretary of State, but the head of the NSA?
When did that happen?
So the dude who...
that seems like a conflict of interest.
Or too much power for one person to have.
Well, that goes without saying.
But the dude who added the Atlantic reporter to the Signal chat...
Yeah.
That guy, I guess, was like the... No, I thought that guy was
not
like...
the drunk dude.
No.
Hegseth, but the other guy.
Yeah. He was like...
that makes sense.
He would... You know, he's not DNI, but he's... Because that's Gabbard, but he was the head of the NSA, and now they're moving him into another role.
They're shifting him around.
And so Trump's solution to that... The following segment has been brought to you by The Goddamn Sauce. Go to thegdsauce.com for details to order all the sauces to replace your ordinary condiments. The Po' Boy Podcast is a production of Pulpery Media, produced and edited by Ben Grimion. Marketing by Brock Ryder. Graphic design by Beck Ryder and Ben Grimion. Music by the Heisenberg Compensators.